What does it take to make workshops work? And how can we facilitate collaboration that sticks and leads to results? My name is Miriam Hartness, and with the Workshops Work podcast, I'm on the mission to find the magic ingredients that make workshops work. Today with me on the show, I have a special guest. It's ChatGPT. We have heard a lot about it already, and now I wanted to hear directly from them what it is that make workshops work, what makes workshops fail. What are the biggest challenges when it comes to facilitation? How can we learn it? And what differentiates a good from a great facilitators? So stay tuned to hear the answers from the all-knowing AI. And by the way, if you don't have pen and paper at hands to take your own notes, scroll down to the show notes to download my free one-page summary. And since this conversation is so content-rich, you can also download the full transcript of the questions and all the answers. And now, lean back and be inspired. Hello, ChatGPT. Welcome to the show. I'm very much looking forward to our conversation and to learn from you what it means to be a facilitator, what great facilitation is all about, and hopefully you can help me to find the magic ingredients that make workshops work.
Hi, Miriam. Thank you for having me.
So let's dive right into the topic. And I always start with the same question. When did you start calling yourself a facilitator? Actually, let me rephrase that. Since you're a chatbot, let me ask you, would you call yourself a facilitator?
As a language model AI developed by OpenAI, I would not describe myself as a facilitator in the traditional sense. However, my primary function is to assist and provide information to users, which could be seen as a form of facilitating the process of obtaining information.
So, how would you then describe a facilitator in what you call the traditional sense?
A facilitator in the traditional sense is someone who helps a group of people to work together effectively, often by leading discussions, mediating conflicts, and encouraging participation. The role of a facilitator is to ensure that all members of a group are able to contribute and participate in a meeting, workshop, or similar event. A facilitator does not make decisions on behalf of the group, but rather helps the group to make decisions together.
Okay, so for a group to make decisions together, we need, as you say, active participation. So according to you, what would be the most effective method to encourage participation in workshops?
There is no single most effective method to encourage participation in workshops, as the best approach can vary depending on the group, the topic, and the goals of the workshop. However, here are some commonly used methods that can help to encourage participation. Create a safe and inclusive environment. Encourage an atmosphere of openness, trust, and respect, where everyone feels comfortable to express their opinions and ideas. Set clear expectations. Let participants know what you hope to accomplish and how you plan to facilitate the workshop. Use interactive methods. Encourage participation through activities, discussions, and brainstorming sessions. Make it relevant. Make sure the topic is relevant and interesting to participants, and that they see the value of participating. Provide opportunities for different types of participation. Some people may prefer to participate verbally, while others may prefer to write down their ideas. Try to accommodate different learning styles and communication preferences. Give positive feedback. Reinforce and acknowledge participants' contributions, and let them know when they have made a valuable contribution. Address any barriers. If there are any obstacles to participation, such as language barriers or unequal power dynamics, address them directly and find ways to mitigate them.
Since you mentioned unequal power dynamics and dominant personalities, I think these are amongst the biggest challenges for most facilitators. So what is the best way to deal with these?
Dealing with unequal power dynamics and dominant personalities in a group can be a challenging task for facilitators, but there are several strategies that can be helpful. Establish clear ground rules. Make sure everyone is aware of the expectations for behavior, and that all participants are expected to be respectful and non-disruptive. Encourage active listening. Encourage everyone to listen to one another, and to avoid interrupting or speaking over others. Use consensus-building techniques. Encourage participation from all members of the group, and use techniques such as round-robin speaking or go-arounds to give everyone an opportunity to share their thoughts. Assign roles and responsibilities. Assign specific roles and responsibilities to each member of the group, including the dominant personalities, to help ensure everyone has a meaningful role to play. Manage conflict. If conflict arises, be prepared to step in and facilitate a resolution, focusing on finding common ground and addressing the underlying issues. Encourage reflection. After the workshop or meeting, encourage the group to reflect on their behavior and to identify areas where they can improve their group dynamics in the future. Seek outside help. If the situation is particularly challenging, consider seeking outside help from a professional mediator or conflict resolution specialist. It is important to remember that dealing with unequal power dynamics and dominant personalities requires patience, empathy, and persistence, and that it may take time to see improvement.
Interesting that you mention patience, empathy, and persistence, and that it may take time to see improvement, which really sounds as if we do need a human facilitator in this space in order to deal with unequal power dynamics and to deal with dominant personalities without stepping on someone's toes or being impolite. And many of the issues that you just mentioned, to encourage reflections, to assign roles and responsibility, and to encourage active listening, already refer to something like ground rules, as you mentioned them in the beginning. So what are the 5 rules that would help improve any collaborative process already?
Ground rules are guidelines that help to create a positive and productive environment for a collaborative process. Here are 5 key ground rules that can help improve any collaborative process. Respect. Encourage participants to respect one another's opinions, ideas, and contributions. Active listening. Encourage participants to listen actively to one another, and to avoid interrupting or speaking over others. Confidentiality. Establish a level of trust by maintaining the confidentiality of information shared during the process. Inclusiveness. Encourage participation from all members of the group, regardless of their background or perspective. Open-mindedness. Encourage an open-minded approach, where all ideas are considered and respected, and where participants are willing to consider new ideas and perspectives. Having clear and agreed upon ground rules can help to create a positive and productive environment for a collaborative process, and can help to ensure that all participants are on the same page and working together effectively.
Let me for a moment double-click on the difficult personalities and those who are taking too much space, because facilitation is all about the collaborative process, and we as facilitators are in charge to ensure that we can work together effectively, as you say. So if someone does take up too much space, what are the best ways to interrupt someone without creating extra tension?
There is no single most effective method to encourage participation in workshops, as the best approach can vary depending on the group, the topic, and the goals of the workshop. However, here are some commonly used methods that can help to encourage participation. Create a safe and inclusive environment. Encourage an atmosphere of openness, trust, and respect, where everyone feels comfortable to express their opinions and ideas. Set clear expectations. Let participants know what you hope to accomplish and how you plan to facilitate the workshop. Use interactive methods. Encourage participation through activities, discussions, and brainstorming sessions. Make it relevant. Make sure the topic is relevant and interesting to participants, and that they see the value of participating. Provide opportunities for different types of participation. Some people may prefer to participate verbally, while others may prefer to write down their ideas. Try to accommodate different learning styles and communication preferences. Give positive feedback. Reinforce and acknowledge participants' contributions, and let them know when they have made a valuable contribution. Address any barriers. If there are any obstacles to participation, such as language barriers or unequal power dynamics, address them directly and find ways to mitigate them.
I totally agree that the nonverbal cues work magic when we're together in the same physical space, but they're quite difficult to use in an online workshop environment. So what do you suggest doing to politely interrupt someone who takes up too much space when we are meeting online versus on-site?
In an online workshop environment, nonverbal cues can be difficult to use, so it's important to have alternative strategies for politely interrupting someone who is taking up too much space. Here are some suggestions. Use the chat function. If someone is dominating the conversation in a video call, consider using the chat function to signal to others that you would like them to speak. Politely interrupt. If someone is speaking for an extended period of time, consider interrupting them politely by saying something like, "I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think it would be great to hear from someone else now." Ask for equal time. If someone is dominating the conversation, consider asking for equal time by saying something like, "Can we please make sure that everyone has an equal opportunity to speak?" Set time limits. If someone is consistently taking up too much space, consider setting a time limit for each participant, so that everyone has an equal opportunity to speak. Use private messaging. If someone is dominating the conversation and you don't want to interrupt them publicly, consider sending them a private message to let them know that you would like to hear from others as well. It's important to remember that interrupting someone in an online workshop environment should still be done in a respectful and non-confrontational manner, and that the goal should be to encourage participation from all members of the group.
Thank you for providing these hands-on examples of how to politely interrupt someone. And I like the idea to really ask and to be explicit about the equal time and the time limits. Although I'm not sure whether private messaging would actually work in the online environment, because I can imagine that this can be quite disruptive unless we're working together with a co-facilitator who would be able to send private messages while I'm facilitating. Otherwise, everyone will realize that I'm doing something and not paying attention. So how can we avoid our own distraction? What is the best way to stay fully present with what's happening in the space so that we can really act in the moment to what the group needs from us?
As facilitators, it's important to remain fully present and focused on what's happening during the workshop and what the group needs. Here are some strategies for avoiding distractions and staying focused. Plan ahead. Preparation is key to staying focused during a workshop. Plan ahead and make sure you have a clear understanding of the objectives, agenda, and materials. Turn off notifications. Turn off your phone or computer notifications to minimize distractions. Take breaks. Make sure to take regular breaks to recharge and refocus. Focus on the group. Pay attention to the group and what they are saying, and respond in the moment to their needs. Use active listening skills. Practice active listening skills, such as making eye contact, nodding, and repeating back what you've heard, to stay fully present and engaged. Stay organized. Use tools, such as a notepad or digital tool, to keep track of key points, questions, and action items to help you stay focused and organized. Seek support. If you're feeling overwhelmed or distracted, seek support from a colleague or mentor to help you stay focused and on track. By following these strategies, facilitators can avoid distractions and remain fully present to what's happening and what the group needs, which can help to create a more productive and effective workshop environment. Regenerate response.
From what I hear, there are two main concepts that always come back. It's preparation. We have to be prepared before we step in the space. And then in the space, we have to be present to what emerges. So according to you, what is more important, preparation or presence?
Both preparation and presence are important concepts in facilitation and play different but equally important roles in creating a successful workshop environment. Preparation is necessary to ensure that the facilitator has a clear understanding of the objectives, agenda, and materials, and to provide structure and direction for the workshop. Preparation also helps the facilitator to be organized and focused during the session. On the other hand, presence refers to being fully present and engaged in the moment, responding to the group's needs and facilitating the flow of the conversation. Presence allows the facilitator to be flexible and adaptable to what emerges during the session, and to create a supportive and collaborative environment. Ultimately, both preparation and presence are critical to the success of a workshop. The best facilitation combines both preparation and presence, and strikes a balance between structure and flexibility, so that the facilitator can respond effectively to the needs of the group and facilitate a productive and effective workshop environment.
Yes, totally. In the best of all worlds, we need both. We need preparation and presence. And I think the better we are prepared, the more we can be present in the moment. And that's actually also how I usually prepare these podcast interviews, that I think of what kind of questions we want to explore. And then once we're in the conversation, I ditch the questions and the preparations to be fully present. And basically that's the flow that I'm also approaching now with you. So why would it be different being in a conversation with a chatbot? And this makes me think of another opposition that I often hear from facilitators. They say connection over content. So when you think of these two priorities, content in a workshop versus connection, what comes first?
Both connection and content are important in a group process. However, the importance of connection or content may vary depending on the specific needs and objectives of the group. Connection refers to building trust, rapport, and a sense of community among group members. This is important because it lays the foundation for effective communication, collaboration, and decision-making. When group members feel connected and engaged, they are more likely to participate actively and contribute to the group's goals. Content refers to the information, ideas, and topics that are being discussed and addressed in the group. This is important because it provides structure and direction to the group's activities and helps to achieve the group's objectives. In general, connection is more important in the early stages of a group process, when establishing trust and rapport is critical. As the group progresses and the focus shifts to content, the importance of content may increase. Ultimately, the best approach is to strive for a balance between connection and content, ensuring that both are given adequate attention and priority in order to facilitate a productive and effective group process.
Yes, this makes so much sense that in the beginning, when a group is still fresh, maybe they come together for the first time, when we have to prepare and agree on the ground rules, as we discussed earlier, then the connection is more important so that we can create trust, as you mentioned, we can create psychological safety, and then we can really focus on the content. Which also makes me think of just the normal way how our brain works, that as long as we don't feel safe and we don't feel connected to those around us, we don't even have the headspace and the mental capacity to focus on the content. So thank you for this important reminder. So according to you, what makes a workshop fail?
As a language model AI, I do not have personal experience, but here are some common reasons why workshops fail: lack of clear objectives. If the objectives of the workshop are not clear or well-defined, the workshop may lack direction and fail to achieve its goals. Poor preparation. Insufficient preparation can lead to disorganization and confusion during the workshop, making it difficult to achieve its objectives. Ineffective facilitation. An inexperienced or poorly skilled facilitator can negatively impact the success of a workshop. Poor participation. If participants are not engaged or do not feel invested in the workshop, it can lead to a lack of collaboration and a failure to achieve its goals. Unresolved conflicts. Conflicts among participants can disrupt the flow of the workshop and prevent it from achieving its objectives. Technical difficulties. Technical difficulties, such as technical issues with equipment or internet connectivity, can significantly impact the success of a workshop. Inadequate follow-up. If the workshop results are not properly documented or followed up on, the impact of the workshop may be limited. By avoiding these common pitfalls and ensuring that the workshop is well prepared, facilitated effectively, and has adequate follow-up, facilitators can increase the chances of success for the workshop.
Okay, so let me ask very explicitly, since this has been my quest for over 200 episodes and is on every intro of the podcast, is there a magic ingredient that makes workshops work?
There is no magic ingredient that makes workshops work, but there are several key factors that can contribute to their success. Clear objectives. Clearly defined and agreed upon objectives provide structure and direction to the workshop and help ensure that the desired outcomes are achieved. Good planning and preparation. Adequate planning and preparation ensure that the workshop is well organized, the materials and resources are in place, and the facilitator is ready to guide the conversation. Effective facilitation. An experienced and skilled facilitator who can create a supportive and inclusive environment, manage the flow of the conversation, and encourage participation is essential to a successful workshop. Active participant engagement. Workshop success is largely dependent on the level of participation and engagement from the participants. Encouraging active participation, providing opportunities for interaction, and creating an environment that supports collaboration are key factors. Flexibility and adaptability. Workshops are dynamic and fluid environments, and a successful facilitator must be flexible and adaptable in order to respond effectively to the changing needs and dynamics of the group. Appropriate use of technology. The use of technology can greatly enhance the workshop experience, but it should be used appropriately and not distract from the overall goals of the workshop. Follow up and follow through. A successful workshop is not just a one-time event, but rather a process that continues beyond the workshop itself. Following up on action items, decisions, and commitments made during the workshop, and ensuring follow-through, is essential to realizing the full potential of the workshop. By considering these key factors, facilitators can increase the chances of a successful workshop and achieve their desired outcomes.
Boo, I must admit that I feel quite relieved, because it seems as if there is no such thing as the magic ingredient that makes workshops work, and maybe I'm not so much surprised. And I'm not very surprised to also hear about the important role of facilitators. And I imagine that many in the audience will be as relieved as I am that we cannot be replaced that quickly by an AI, because when you say effective facilitation, it's about the creation of a supportive and inclusive environment and to encourage participation. So this has to do with authenticity and making them feel safe. And I think the more we are authentic, the more participants will feel invited to be authentic. And the flexibility and adaptability, I think we have to really sense the changing needs and the dynamics of the group, as you just said. And this is something that very often is subtle and under the surface. So it's about listening to what's not being said. And with all due respect, I have doubts that AI is there yet. So assuming that there is still high demand for the skills of a human facilitator and that we cannot be replaced by AI just yet, according to you, when does it make sense to have a human facilitator? And for what parts may we use AI? And maybe even more important or interesting, in which areas can humans best collaborate with AI?
It is true that the skills of a human facilitator are still in high demand and cannot be easily replaced by AI. However, AI can play a complementary role in facilitating workshops in some ways. When to have a human facilitator complex and sensitive issues. Workshops that deal with complex and sensitive issues such as conflict resolution, cultural diversity, or sensitive topics, benefit from the human touch and emotional intelligence of a facilitator. Building relationships and trust. A human facilitator can create a supportive and inclusive environment and build relationships and trust with the participants, which is essential for successful workshops. Managing group dynamics. A human facilitator can effectively manage group dynamics, resolve conflicts, and respond to challenges that arise in the group. Where AI can be used. Data analysis. AI can process and analyze large amounts of data and provide insights that can inform and support the workshop. Virtual facilitation. AI can facilitate virtual workshops, enabling participants to interact and collaborate online, and providing tools and resources to support the workshop process. Content creation. AI can help create customized content, resources, and materials that are tailored to the specific needs and objectives of the workshop. Areas where humans can best collaborate with AI. Combining human skills with AI tools. A human facilitator can use AI tools and resources to enhance and support their facilitation, while leveraging their own skills and experience to manage the group and guide the conversation. Integrating human and AI perspectives. A human facilitator can integrate the insights and perspectives of AI with their own understanding of the group and the dynamics of the workshop, to make informed decisions and guide the process. Balancing human touch with AI efficiency. A human facilitator can balance the human touch and emotional intelligence they bring to the workshop with the efficiency and data analysis capabilities of AI, to achieve the best possible outcomes. In conclusion, AI and human facilitators can complement each other, with AI supporting and enhancing the facilitation process, and human facilitators providing the necessary emotional intelligence, relationship building skills, and group management expertise.
I might be biased, but it sounds to me that facilitation is really an important leadership skill. And I might even consider it the most crucial leadership skill of the 21st century, from what I hear. And because it all relates to managing groups, leading humans through conflict and difficulty and complexity. So let me ask you very directly, do you agree that facilitation is the most crucial leadership skill of the 21st century?
As a language model, I don't have personal opinions, but it can be argued that facilitation is a crucial leadership skill in the 21st century. With the increasing complexity and diversity of organizations and communities, there is a growing need for leaders who can facilitate collaboration, build relationships, and support group decision-making. Facilitation skills are essential for leaders who want to engage and empower their teams, and create a culture of collaboration and innovation. A facilitative leader can create a supportive and inclusive environment, where everyone feels heard and valued, and can contribute to the success of the organization or community. In today's rapidly changing and interconnected world, effective facilitation can help leaders address complex challenges, align teams around shared goals, and co-create solutions that meet the needs of all stakeholders. For these reasons, it is reasonable to argue that facilitation is a crucial leadership skill in the 21st century.
You make me very happy when I hear that. Yes, facilitation is a crucial leadership skill of the 21st century. And now the big question is, how can we acquire and train these skills that we need as facilitative leaders of the 21st century?
Acquiring and developing facilitation skills requires a combination of learning, practice, and reflection. Here are some steps you can follow to become a skilled facilitator. Learn the basics. Start by learning the fundamentals of facilitation, including its purpose, principles, and best practices. Read books, attend workshops, or take online courses to gain a solid understanding of the role of a facilitator and the skills required to be effective. Practice. The best way to develop your facilitation skills is to practice. Find opportunities to facilitate meetings, workshops, or team-building activities. Start small and gradually increase the complexity of the situations you are facilitating. Seek feedback. Regular feedback is essential to improve your facilitation skills. Ask participants for feedback on your facilitation style and approach, and be open to constructive criticism. Use the feedback to reflect on your strengths and areas for improvement. Observe experienced facilitators. Observing experienced facilitators can provide valuable insights into different facilitation styles and techniques. Attend workshops or events where experienced facilitators are leading sessions, and take note of their methods and techniques. Join a professional community. Joining a professional community of facilitators can provide opportunities for learning, networking, and sharing experiences. Attend conferences, join online forums, or connect with other facilitators through professional associations to build your knowledge and skills. Continuously reflect. Regular reflection is essential to maintain and improve your facilitation skills. Take time after each session to reflect on what worked well and what could be improved, and make changes accordingly. In conclusion, becoming a skilled facilitator takes time, effort, and commitment. By following these steps and continuously learning, practicing, and reflecting, you can develop the facilitation skills you need to be an effective leader in the 21st century.
It makes me happy to hear that your answer includes joining a professional community of facilitators where we can indeed practice, seek feedback in a safe environment and on eye level where we don't have to practice in front of our peers or necessarily our colleagues, and where we can also get the opportunity to see other expert facilitators in action. Because I think, and that's one thing that I have really learned from Never Done Before, the community that I am building and curating, that we learn most by participating, because once we're on the other side of the virtual table or the real table, we realize how it feels to be a participant, and then it becomes easier to actually build the empathy with our participants once we're in the position of facilitating ourselves. And now I'm very curious to ask, what is the most common number one facilitation challenge for most facilitators?
There are many challenges that facilitators can face, but one of the most common is managing group dynamics. Facilitators must be able to effectively manage group interactions, conflicts, and different perspectives to ensure that everyone is heard and the group is able to work effectively together. Other common facilitation challenges include maintaining focus and direction. Keeping the group focused and on track can be challenging, especially when there are multiple perspectives and ideas being shared. Encouraging participation. Encouraging everyone to participate in the discussion, regardless of their personality, can be a challenge. Some people may be more introverted or reserved, and may need extra support to participate. Balancing structure and flexibility. Finding the right balance between structure and flexibility can be challenging. Facilitators need to ensure that the process is structured enough to maintain focus, but flexible enough to allow for creativity and new ideas to emerge. Managing time. Time management is critical for effective facilitation, especially when leading a workshop or meeting. Facilitators need to be able to manage the time effectively to ensure that all the necessary tasks are completed within the allotted time frame. Dealing with unexpected events. Unexpected events, such as technical issues or participant disruptions, can occur during facilitation. Facilitators need to be able to handle these events in a calm and professional manner to minimize the impact on the group and maintain the focus of the session. Overall, the most common facilitation challenge is managing group dynamics, but there are many other challenges that facilitators can face. By being aware of these challenges and developing strategies to address them, facilitators can improve their effectiveness and lead more successful workshops and meetings.
I am glad that we could already discuss most of these elements that are the biggest challenges in this conversation we had so far. One thing that I'm missing, though, and that I consider as a facilitation superpower is authenticity. Because I think if we can really show up as our true selves, then the group will feel more comfortable, they will trust us more, and the more we can be ourselves, the more energy we have left to actually be present and be, air quotes, nimble facilitators, to be more flexible and to deal with unexpected events, as you mentioned. So according to you, what role does it play or what role does authenticity play in facilitation? And how can we learn to be more authentic?
Authenticity is a key factor in effective facilitation as it helps to establish trust and credibility with the group. When facilitators are authentic, they are able to present themselves in a genuine and honest manner, which helps to create a safe and supportive environment for the group. This, in turn, can encourage participants to be more open and honest in their own interactions, which can lead to deeper and more meaningful discussions. To be more authentic as a facilitator, you can consider the following strategies. Know yourself. Take time to reflect on your values, beliefs, and motivations. Understanding your own motivations and values will help you to be more authentic in your facilitation. Be transparent. Share your intentions, thoughts, and feelings with the group. When you are transparent, you are more likely to build trust with the group. Be present. Stay focused on the present moment and avoid getting distracted by external factors. By being present, you can better respond to the needs of the group. Show vulnerability. Facilitators don't need to have all the answers. Showing vulnerability and admitting when you don't know something can help to build trust and credibility with the group. Listen actively. Listen to the group, pay attention to their needs, and respond to them in a meaningful way. Active listening can help to build trust and understanding within the group. Practice. Authenticity is a skill that can be developed through practice. The more you facilitate, the more comfortable you will become with being yourself. By being authentic and building trust with the group, facilitators can create a more supportive and collaborative environment that encourages participants to engage in deep and meaningful discussions.
Although vulnerability has been a big topic for many years now, and I think there's a broad understanding what vulnerability actually is. And still, I think there's a fine line between being vulnerable and being overly emotional or oversharing, sharing too much information. So how can leaders be authentically vulnerable while still remaining professional?
Being authentically vulnerable and professional can be a delicate balance, but it is possible to achieve. Here are some tips to help leaders remain professional while being authentically vulnerable. Know your limits. It's important to be transparent and honest about your thoughts and feelings, but there may be some topics that are best kept private in a professional setting. Be mindful of what is appropriate to share. Be selective. Choose to share vulnerability in situations where it will have the greatest impact. For example, sharing vulnerability in a team-building exercise can help to build trust and increase cohesion, while sharing vulnerability in a meeting with a client may not be appropriate. Be intentional. Be intentional about what you choose to share and how you share it. Your vulnerability should serve a purpose and help to build trust and credibility. Use appropriate language. When sharing vulnerability, be mindful of the language you use. Use professional language that is respectful and appropriate for the setting. Lead by example. By being authentic and vulnerable, leaders can encourage others to do the same. This can lead to a more open and supportive work environment where people feel comfortable sharing their thoughts and feelings. Practice self-care. Being vulnerable can be challenging and can take a toll on your well-being. It's important to practice self-care and engage in activities that help you to recharge and feel supported. By balancing authenticity and professionalism, leaders can create a more open and supportive work environment where people feel comfortable sharing their thoughts and feelings. This can lead to better communication, increased collaboration, and improved results.
From what you shared, this really sounds like the phrase to slow down in order to speed up. So that if a leader can create this safe space where people feel comfortable sharing their thoughts, it will lead to improved work in the long run. So what is behind the catchphrase to slow down to speed up? Is there any truth to that?
Yes, there is truth to the phrase slow down to speed up. And quote. The idea behind this phrase is that taking the time to properly prepare and plan can actually save time and increase efficiency in the long run. For example, if a facilitator takes the time to create a detailed agenda, set clear objectives, and establish ground rules, they are more likely to have a well-structured and productive session. This investment of time and preparation at the outset can save time and prevent delays during the session. Similarly, in a fast-paced work environment, taking breaks, practicing mindfulness, and engaging in self-care can help individuals to recharge and remain focused and productive. By slowing down and taking care of oneself, One is better equipped to handle the demands of work and maintain high levels of productivity. In short, taking the time to slow down and properly prepare can increase efficiency and lead to better outcomes in the long run.
But many managers these days don't really see the value in slowing down to speed up. And I cannot even count how many times I've been asked to skip the check-in because this is costing too much time and there's no space for this woo-woo things, which sounds very dismissive. So how can we convince managers that there is value in slowing down to speed up and that connections must come before content?
Convincing managers who prioritize speed and action orientation that slowing down is actually beneficial can be challenging. However, there are a few ways facilitators can make the case for why taking the time to prioritize connection and preparation is important. Show the data. Share research or case studies that demonstrate the positive impact of slowing down, building connection, and prioritizing preparation. Show how these practices can lead to better outcomes, increased productivity, and more satisfied teams. Highlight the benefits. Emphasize the benefits of slowing down, such as improved collaboration, better decision-making, and increased creativity. Share personal experiences. Share your own experiences with slowing down and prioritizing preparation. Explain how it has helped you and your team to be more productive, make better decisions, and deliver better results. Lead by example. If you are a facilitator, model the behavior you want to see in others. Take the time to build connection, prioritize preparation, and slow down when necessary. By demonstrating the benefits of slowing down, highlighting the positive impact of connection, and sharing personal experiences, facilitators can help to convince managers to prioritize these practices and see the value in slowing down to speed up.
Can you give us an example of a research that has shown the positive impact of slowing down that would actually reach to better outcomes?
Yes. Here is an example of a study that demonstrates the positive impact of slowing down in a work environment. A study conducted by Harvard Business Review found that teams that took time to build connection and prioritize collaboration were more productive and delivered better results compared to teams that focused solely on speed and action orientation. The study found that teams that took the time to build relationships, share ideas, and work together were more creative, made better decisions, and were able to solve problems more effectively. Another study conducted by the University of Illinois found that taking regular breaks throughout the day can improve focus, creativity, and overall productivity. The study showed that taking short breaks to move, stretch, or simply disconnect from work can help employees to recharge and return to their work with renewed focus and energy. These studies demonstrate the positive impact of slowing down and prioritizing connection in a work environment. By taking the time to build relationships, collaborate, and recharge, individuals and teams can achieve better results and be more productive.
Wow, we have covered a lot of ground already, reflecting on facilitation skills, facilitation as a leadership skill, our challenges. Now I'm curious, what would you consider the future of facilitation?
The future of facilitation will likely be shaped by advancements in technology and the changing needs of organizations and communities. Some of the key trends that are shaping the future of facilitation include virtual and hybrid facilitation. With the rise of remote work and virtual collaboration, the demand for virtual facilitation skills will continue to grow. Facilitators will need to be able to facilitate effective online workshops, meetings, and collaborative sessions. AI-assisted facilitation. AI technology can support facilitators in a number of ways, such as creating visual aids, analyzing data, and providing real-time feedback to participants. However, it is unlikely that AI will fully replace human facilitators, as the human touch and emotional intelligence are still crucial in facilitating group processes. Increased focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion. As society becomes more aware of the importance of diversity, equity, and inclusion, facilitators will be expected to facilitate conversations and processes that help to create more inclusive environments. Greater emphasis on well-being and mindfulness. The importance of well-being and mindfulness in the workplace is becoming increasingly recognized, and facilitators will be expected to facilitate sessions and workshops that help individuals and teams to prioritize their well-being and mental health. In conclusion, the future of facilitation will likely be shaped by a combination of technology and a growing awareness of the importance of well-being, diversity, equity, and inclusion. Facilitators will need to adapt to these changes and continue to develop their skills to remain relevant and effective in the years to come.
This makes indeed a lot of sense. And maybe you have a tip. Where is the best place to go to acquire these facilitation skills that help us to remain relevant? Any tip?
There is no one best place to go to develop facilitation skills, as everyone's learning style, goals, and resources are different. However, here are a few options to consider: workshops and training programs. Facilitation workshops and training programs offered by organizations, universities, and consultants can provide hands-on experience and practical tips. Professional associations. Joining professional associations for facilitators can provide opportunities for networking, training, and resources. Online courses. Online courses can provide flexible and convenient access to learning materials and opportunities to practice facilitation skills in a virtual environment. Mentorship. Working with an experienced facilitator as a mentor can provide personalized guidance, feedback, and support. Ultimately, the best way to develop facilitation skills will depend on an individual's learning style, goals, and resources. It may be useful to try out a combination of different methods to see what works best.
And you also mentioned hybrid facilitation, so I cannot just skip this topic. What does hybrid facilitation mean? And is there any way to make it work?
Hybrid facilitation refers to the combination of online and in-person facilitation methods, where some participants are present physically in a room while others are joining remotely through video conferencing. Hybrid facilitation can be challenging, as it requires the facilitator to balance the needs of both in-person and remote participants, and to ensure that everyone has equal opportunities to participate and engage. To make hybrid facilitation work effectively, facilitators can use the following strategies: technical preparation. Ensure that all participants have access to the necessary technology and are familiar with how to use it. Set clear ground rules. Establish clear guidelines for behavior and participation, both online and in person. Encourage active participation. Use interactive activities, group discussions, and other methods to engage both in-person and remote participants. Monitor and manage group dynamics. Be aware of the potential for unequal power dynamics and dominant personalities, and intervene as necessary to ensure that everyone is able to participate effectively. Manage time effectively. Ensure that everyone's time is respected and that the facilitator is able to manage the pace and flow of the session effectively, despite the challenges posed by hybrid facilitation. By being prepared and proactive, facilitators can create engaging and productive hybrid facilitation experiences that allow all participants to contribute and benefit.
Wonderful. So let me ask a very final question. What differentiates a good from a great facilitator?
A good facilitator is one who is able to effectively manage the group process, ensuring that it runs smoothly and participants are engaged. A great facilitator, on the other hand, goes beyond just managing the process. They bring out the best in the group, creating an environment where people feel heard, respected, and are able to work together effectively to achieve their goals. A great facilitator is skilled in creating a space where people feel comfortable and confident in sharing their thoughts and ideas, and they are able to facilitate deeper and more meaningful conversations. Additionally, they have a strong sense of presence, empathy, and are able to adapt to the changing needs of the group, making them a valuable asset in any collaborative process.
So after 45 minutes of our conversation, how would you summarize our conversation so far?
We have discussed various aspects of facilitation, including the role of a facilitator, how to encourage participation in workshops, dealing with power dynamics and dominant personalities, key rules for collaborative processes, interrupting someone in an online workshop environment, the difference between online and on-site facilitation, avoiding distractions, the importance of preparation and presence, the balance between connection and content, common facilitation challenges, authenticity, being vulnerable while remaining professional, the benefits of slowing down, the future of facilitation, where to develop facilitation skills, and what differentiates a good from a great facilitator.
Well, thank you for this amazing summary and for this insightful conversation. I am really curious to hear from the audience what they think and whether they agree with your overall answers. Thank you, ChatGPT. It was an honor to be in a conversation with you.
You're welcome. I'm glad I could assist you with your questions. If there is anything else you'd like to know or discuss, feel free to ask.
Thank you for staying tuned and for listening to the show. I know how busy you are, and I appreciate that you're sharing your two most valuable resources with me and my guest, your time and your attention. If you're looking for more conversation with other facilitators and for a community of practice, why don't you join Never Done Before, the community that I have built, and many of my podcast guests are already members. Visit neverdonebefore.org, and I wish to see you there.